Would you believe that wasn't the weirdest thing to happen to me this weekend? I'm like, seriously, okay, I guess. Sorry, I didn't want to boot him. I didn't want to keep it. I didn't want nothing to do with that. That was, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, what the fuck was that? I mean, it's not just me, right? He was saying nothing. He was being really weird and saying nothing. Look at me sitting here in my room with my hair. Like, it puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again, right? So, anyway, um, I don't know. I'm feeling a little better. I'm not feeling so flushed. I figured I'd come back and chat a little bit, even if I only hang out a little bit longer and say absolutely freaking nothing. Because you know what? I've thought about days I didn't even feel like talking. I thought about making a live stream and just playing nothing and just sitting in the chat with you guys and bullshit. And because I feel so weird being the only person talking, it would be cool if you guys could all talk back. Damn it. But instead, I look like a damn narcissist that just likes to sit here and talk to herself. And people always say to me, "You do so good. How do you just talk for 2 hours?" And then my husband chuckles and rolls his eyes like, "You have no idea." He kept, dude, he kept giving me his freaking I mean, I don't know. He kept giving me a phone number, telling me it's my therapist. Call them. Like, who gives the? I'm a stranger, dude. Like, what the I was really hoping for some interesting conversation. When he actually brought up the Bible, I was like, all right, now we were getting somewhere. Like, Jesus is a baby killer. What the fuck is your problem? Ah, yeah, well, I'm glad he's gone too, I guess. I blocked him on Gmail and he's probably watching this, which I don't know. Dude, I don't know. I gave you a shot. You didn't fucking say anything. You just gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I'm sorry, but no. I'm all about giving people a shot. I really am. Like, if you have something to tell me or you want to talk, I'll give you a platform. Let's chat. I want to debate. I'd love to debate a Christian. Bring me the head of a Christian and the rest of their body too, because I'm not that bad. But so Jesus is the sun, and he's followed by the 12 zodiac constellations. You know, the Bible actually says that the stars are in the sky for signs. Like, they're called the signs of the zodiac. Like, words have meaning. Words have meaning. No, Richard, I don't imagine that you're wrong about that. I got like my posse on the watch. My posse will take you down, man, boot you out. I don't know. I don't know if it's a coincidence that he was calling me and that other person was spamming. I forget what the name was. Nope. Shit. I couldn't remember if I transferred the phone or not. I'm on my own today. My husband's not here, so I have to answer this. So I'm gonna mute the mic and I'll be back in a minute. Sorry. Get out the beer. You're freaking hilarious. No, he's working and I have the phone. He's usually here at this time of night. But anyway, um, was I even saying anything? I don't think I was. Yes, he was a real weirdo. Fruitcake. So anyway, I've been studying astrology. I mean, that's what I was talking about. Hi, Chris. Um, I've been really doing up the astrology, actually. I mean, I've been reading the Light of Egypt and Astrology in Your Body, but this book is really neat if you're looking to learn about astrology. As you can see, I bookmarked the crap out of it, but it goes through each sign and personalities and every possible thing about them, and it's all really interesting stuff. Shows you how to make a chart, how to read a chart, what the different aspects mean, what the different houses mean, and I don't know, I'm a nerd and I like to read, so I tend to pick things up really quickly, and this is no different. But my point is, it's really easy to pick it up. It's really easy to learn from it because it, I don't know, it lays things out nicely. I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm really, really getting into astrology. It is so interesting to me. It's been interesting to me for the last few years, since I went flat. Marty said I don't talk about flat Earth enough, or I don't talk about it very much. He wondered if my guest would even know that I was a flat earther. Oh, anyway. He did, by the way. I don't know if that's a credit to flat Earth or not. But yeah, I always thought astrology was really interesting, but then when I went flat and suddenly, the stars are these electromagnetic things right there, and they're so affecting us. It makes sense that they would affect us so much, It just, I find it very, very interesting. And to read through my chart, I know I've talked about it before, but my chart blows my mind, like right down to the addiction issues I've had, like specific ones. Oh, it's something. It's real. And I think that's the main reason that we have been taught that it's so silly and it's been demonized and it's ridiculous. Of course, suns that are hundreds of trillions of light years away are not affecting your personality when you're born. That's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever freaking heard, Okay, take your doggies out. We'll probably be here maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That's another thing. Speaking of the lies that we are told, I was just saying, let me read you a Facebook post. Actually, well, no, I'll just read you my post. I commented on someone else's post and was talking about, he was talking about believing Corey Feldman and things that he said, and Michael Jackson was innocent and whatever. And the first thing that came to my mind was, Hollyweird is Hollyweird. These are all actors. These are all people from the same families. These are all liars. These are all people that are paid tons to lie to you. And the better they lie to you, and the more big the lie that they can pull off, the more they get paid. Like, that's literally how it appears to work. And so I came over here and I said, it is my contention that reality TV was created to demonstrate to you that anyone can become famous. Probably so you would also believe that the weirdos in Hollyweird are legit people, because people go to Hollyweird and become famous all the time. And Nashville, see, look, the winner of The Voice has a record contract now. They made it. Yeah, no, they didn't. They made an album and then they're producing their own again, or it's back to YouTube. No one breaks into the entertainment industry from nowhere. Not in America. I mean, I can't speak for anywhere else, but not in America. They're all just as related as all the politicians. You are given the illusion that you can move up in the world, but you can't. It's all a lie. And it is my true contention that this is true. I mean, I know that there are people that think that all of the people in Hollywood are clones. And I know that there are other people that think that that is absolutely batshit crazy. And I fall somewhere in the middle. I know they're cloning humans. I absolutely believe that they've been cloning for over 200 years on board. They're doing this. They're cloning tissue above board and writing articles about it for 200 years. They're not doing it to humans. They would never do it to humans. That's stupid. I mean, what are they capable of that they don't do if they can profit from it? And what could you profit from more than people that you can get to do things without having to pay them? I mean, if you create it and you grow it and you raise it however you want to. And somebody commented on that post and was talking about how there seems to be a strange connection to the military. And he's right. He talks about the one from the Doors. Oh my God, I'm so drawing a blank. Jim Morrison. His father was like FBI or CIA, and there was someone else, Jimi Hendrix, I think. One of his parents was in the military, and this is true. This all went on back in like the 50s and 60s and stuff, and they were doing mind control and MK Ultra and stuff, which isn't crazy. It's not crazy conspiracy theory. It's true, legit on the books. They did this. They abused people until they cracked their psyches. Like, they did this. And you know what? I think of the people that were responsible for doing things like that, the ones that are just following orders, I wonder if they know. Like, here, I'm presenting you with a clone. This isn't a real person. It doesn't have a real soul. You can abuse it until it cracks its psyche, and we can program it any way you want. Just think of it as a human computer. I know that that's the kind of loophole that a lot of people would feel really fucking comfortable with. Suddenly you're not abusing a baby anymore. You're not hurting a child. You're hurting a humanoid robot. It's not a real robot. It's not a real person. It's not a real soul. It's something we cloned and created in a laboratory. Why is that not possible? Not only not why is it not possible, but why would you think it's not likely? I mean, it seems really likely to me. I have no proof, and I don't run around pointing out people saying they're clones, usually. I mean, have you looked at Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus recently? I mean, that shit creeps me out, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's so weird that the military forces you to get injections, and they force you to give up your DNA. You have to give up your DNA to be in the military. It is not happening any other way. The fuck do they want your DNA for? Why would they want it? So anyway, I flushed the Jehovah. I should have left it up and just like made it unlisted. So, you guys, my posse, my regulars, my people, when you were like, hey, what happened? I could be like, here's a link. Go check this out for a few minutes, right? Oh my God, that was awful. Anyway, yeah, Hollyweird is weird. And you know what? I mean, look at them all. Look at them. There's videos, and I know you can't watch a video on YouTube and then suddenly, you believe everything that you see. I feel ya. I feel this, I mean, for real. But there's some videos that line up certain celebrities, 2 and up to 3 or 4 at a time, line them up. And the resemblance is unfreaking canny. It is unfreaking canny. And like, have you seen what's her name? Hey, you outside that door. Come here. Be right back. Locate your dinner. Here's the phone. This is your messages. Anyway, it's not that time here, silly Martin. What the hell was I saying? Completely lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about weird clone Holly weird shit. Oh, the clones, when you line them up, these videos with these people, these celebrities, that you line them up, and it is uncanny how amazingly similar they look like. Oh, and I was saying, God, what's her name? That's where I was stuck when he jiggled the doorknob. She's a singer. She's a British singer, and she's blonde, a chubbier girl, pretty. She does a lot of covers. Gosh, what is her name? Oh Lord, no, not Miley. She did To Make You Feel My Love. She did oh, Rolling in the Deep. What the heck was her name? Oh my God, okay, I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna bug the shit out of me. For Pete's sake, Adele. God, that hurt my head for real. Adele. Have you seen Adele and her daughter? That's what I was trying to say. Well, Rebecca got there, but I was already typing and off this screen. But yes, Adele. My son showed me a picture of Adele holding her daughter, and then a picture, in front of it, there's a superimposed picture of Adele as a child, and it's like, that is the same freaking person. It's the same freaking person. But you can't do that. You can't go and jump that deep end because it might not be. My kids look a lot like me, especially pictures of me when I was young. They look, even my brother, my youngest brother, if you take pictures of us when we were 6 years old and just take our faces and cut completely out the hair and look at just our faces, you can't tell us apart. It's really weird. But within a year or two later, we looked completely different. You know, it's part of sharing genetic material. And he's only my half brother, so that's really saying something. But that door doesn't sound like it's closed. But Adele and her daughter, it's like an uncanny resemblance, really, really, really. I'm bad with famous people too. I know I know the ones that were famous when I was still asleep. Like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and Sandra Bullock and the one with the eyebrows that was on ER. Like in those shows I watched when I was still asleep. I mean, I started waking up at like 20. So, I mean, I just heard the freaking theme song for the old sitcom Benson. Do any of you remember that show? That was like 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 light years away. But as soon as I heard it, I was like, whoa, that was Benson. But I don't know any of them now. And I don't really watch movies much now. I mean, I watch some. I was watching The Day After Tomorrow, which is about the premature ice age coming and basically freezing the entire northern hemisphere, putting it into a ice age, and everybody had to go south to survive because with the whole Martin Kenny's flat earth universe model, which if you guys haven't seen this video, you have to watch this video. And don't not watch it just because you don't care what the model is, because I didn't care about the model either. I didn't give a crap about the map. I don't care. It's not my area of expertise. I'm not one of those investigators that's going to go out and doggedly prove every possible thing that I can and, you know, prove a model, create a map. I'm not a technical person. It changed my relationship with God, even though I had a very good relationship, a solid communication going on with the universe already. It changed that for me. And, you know, I've gotten into astrology and stuff like that, but it's not a model like that. It's not I'm proposing this is the flat earth. I'm proposing this is the actual working model of the universe itself, the very entire thing that we live in. And he connects it with all of the ancient cultures, all the pictures and the descriptions that they give, and then put it to a flat earth understanding. And it's even somewhat biblical, and it's amazing. And it's like a 2-hour presentation that he gives, and there is not a boring minute in it. I mean, it takes him a little bit to get going because he's, you know, trying to start at the one, and it kind of builds over like the first 10 minutes, but after 10 minutes, man, he rolls. And I was riveted. I've watched it twice for all 2 hours, and not even on 1.5 speed. I'm like focusing on what he's saying and the way he's describing these ancient cultures and their beliefs and their drawn models of the universe, and how I believe that it's true. I believe that it is the closest to the actual workings of it, where we come from and where we go, and how the ages progress, because all of the spiritual texts talk about the progression of the ages, and we call it the progression of the equinox, and they tell us it's because the earth wobbles. It's the electromagnetics in the sky and their circuit around us, and he proposes that there are different toroidal fields around each section of our universe, and that they will go to Mars, but Mars isn't out there. Mars is just the next ring out, where Mars is the actual sun in their sky, and that it looks like a red warbling weird planet because we're looking at it through the toroidal field that's between us. And so it distorts, and that's why it's one of the moving stars, is because it's actually a sun in a different dimension, if you will, but it's a solid dimension like ours. I don't know, you have to watch the presentation because I don't explain it well, but I spend a lot of time contemplating it and applying it to things that I know are true, things I know in myself are true. And I don't know, I do believe that that is the most legit model. Yes, I will absolutely add a link for the astrology book. And I will also give you guys a link to Martin Kenny, because if you haven't seen it, you absolutely have to see it. Somebody gave me the link, and that is the only reason I read it. Or not read it. The only reason I listened to it was because she said, I never cared about a model. And you have to see this. It's mind-blowing. And I was like, okay. And it was only because she asked me to that I went ahead and did it. And then I gave that link to someone else with the exact same preface, and she watched it for the exact same reason and was like, wow, that blew my mind. So, I mean, oh, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca's hooked us up. Oh, what are you posting there, Marty? Hermetics, notaries. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, this looks like fun. Okay, well, I'll check that out when I get out of here. I love when people give me links. Some mornings I get up and I've got like 15 different people, each left me a link or something, and I'm always like, oh, cool, something to do with my coffee. And I sit down and I watch through all the stuff that you people send me. So, yes, I love Martin Kenny's universe, and I think that it really, I think that it makes, I think it makes more sense that the planets, the wandering stars that we see, are actual sun and moons further outside that we're looking through multiple layers of toroidal field. It also explains why they look so warbly and weird. I mean, that's what it would look like if you were looking at it through interference, like static almost. Oh, I think it's really interesting. And it would also make a lot more sense why the planets themselves are the ruling factors, the important things, where the constellations themselves are like secondary effects, because they're, I mean, for all intents and purposes, an extra layer up. So they're further removed from us. So they're more like creating an environment where the suns and moons of these other toroidal fields are moving through and causing these energies to line up and come down and affect us certain ways, depending on where they're placed. I mean, I don't know. It's like, oh, well, duh. To me, now that I've looked at all of this, it's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like, I get that. That's easy to comprehend. So much easier to comprehend than stars trillions of light years away having any kind of effect on you. But once you read your birth chart, I mean, I have never met anybody that read their birth chart and completely disagreed with it. Maybe there's one or two things that you're like, nah, I don't know about that. But even that, you're not the judge. You see yourself differently than you are. You have opinions of yourself. You have an ego in yourself. Well, okay. I think we all see ourselves differently than we actually are. And I think that the degree of difference depends on our own self illumination, our own self-understanding. The more we want to grow and want to look at our dark side and work things out, you know, the more you really are who you think you are. But I think for the most part, most people aren't who they think they are. So they're looking at this piece of paper that says, well, this and this are part of your personality. And they're like, yeah, I don't like that about myself. So no, it's not. This is wrong. You know, and I think we all kind of do that to some degree. We look at the parts that we don't like and go, yeah, I'm not like that. Or I try not to be that way, or I'm not going to be that way anymore, or whatever. But looking at these things is important. It goes back to that thing that I'm always saying. Whatever's on the inside has to match the outside. What you think and feel has to match what you say and do. It's the most important thing I ever learned, ever. Changed my life. Dimensions come from computers making avatars of us and creating multiple realities and seeing what happens. I've tried to wrap my head around a concept like that, and I can't. I can't grasp the reality but non-reality of a computer generated something. I don't know. I can't. I've tried. I guess I just disagree with it. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't feel it. Why only logos and films in Mandela effect and not buildings and trees? I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily believe the Mandela effect is real. There are some things that I have absolutely no basis for any reason to remember them. And when it's presented to a person who has no reason to remember it, and let me start over. The way people present the Mandela effect, they're like, look at this, and you're looking at it and you're like, okay. And then they're like, it was actually this. And you're like, well, that looks right. But I mean, that's kind of weird. But logos are weird because they misspell shit and do shit weird on purpose. Like Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops, I remember Fruit Loops and it was spelled like fruit. However, it makes perfect sense that they would be OO because they misspell shit and they do stupid shit like that on logos, like Quick Fill, KWIK Fill. That used to upset me when I was a kid. I remember talking to my grandma, why is it spelled that way? KWIK, that's not right. That bothered me. And I still go back to the Berenstein Bears. I remember having a conversation with my grandmother about why Berenstein was spelled EIN, because I had just learned the grammar rule, I before E except after C. And that broke that rule. And I had the book and it was my favorite book. And I was like, why is this spelled wrong? And she explained word etymology to me as much as you can to a 6-year-old. And names and different races and nationalities and religions and how last names work and stuff. And that sometimes, when you come from somewhere else, from a different language, things are just spelled different. I never would have had the conversation with her if it wasn't spelled with an E and an I. If it was Stain, Stain, a Berenstain Bear, I never would have had that conversation. It would not have existed, but it did. I was there. And to see that book not spelled that way, I know that happened. I know that happened. But as the only one that I will swear, I know that was right. I know it was. And this is wrong. But that is the only one for me. I don't remember the kid with the tank, and I don't remember Nelson Mandela, and I don't remember Jif for Jiffy or Fruit Loops, or I don't care. It never gave a shit. So it never made an impression. I don't know. So I don't know that I believe that the Mandela effect is real. I just know that a Berenstain Bear never freaking existed. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But I don't think that suddenly hundreds of logos have changed out of nowhere. That's weird. And there's just as many people that remember it one way as another. And it's not like there's overwhelming evidence for it. Okay, the other one that bugs me, I don't swear on it, but it bugs me, is the movie Risky Business. He doesn't wear the sunglasses. I'm like, well, yeah, he does. It's iconic. He slides out in his socks and his underwear with a white button-up shirt and black sunglasses. And there's so much reference to this throughout pop culture. Even on the Gilmore Girls, which I have obsessively watched for a few years now because I obsess over all of the space propaganda on that show. But even this guy walks up to her and he says, hey, baby, what do you think of my sunglasses? And tips them down. And she looks at him and she's like, it's very risky business. It's like, no, it's not. It never happened. How did it never happen? How is it so prevalent throughout pop culture if it wasn't real? And that's not a logo. I mean, it has to do with the Matrix, I guess, the artificial Matrix, because it's part of Hollyweird. And so is the Berenstain Bears, I guess, because, I mean, they're part of entertainment. They're part of the indoctrination. So I don't know. I just know that I won't go around screaming at people that the Mandela effect's real, and if you don't believe it, you're an idiot, because a lot of people do that shit. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything. Until I see 100% proof of something, I don't bang a drum about it, because I used to live on a spinning globe that hurtled around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, because that's an average speed to go. So yeah, prove it. I mean, and you can't, because there are memories that go both ways. So I don't know what else to say about the Mandela effect, but I don't believe in a computer generated reality. I'd love if you could convince me, though. I mean, if you want to shoot me a link or whatever, I'll watch it. I'm open till I got proof. I'm open to suggestion. Okay, where am I? Boy, you talked a lot while I talked a lot, huh? Okay, I'm back up to Adele. Hold on. Mandela effect is propaganda to get people to buy into simulation theory. That sounds not probable, not likely, but like a very, very reasonable idea. It really seems that they are really trying to impress upon us the whole robotic thing. They really push it with limbs, ripping limbs off and putting these robotic nerve sensor moving limbs, like, and they want you to think it's really cool, like, wow, I can be like a robot. I mean, and I know they want you to think it's cool because they put it on Grey's Anatomy and they have kids going, wow, you're like a superhero. Oh, I don't ever want to say superhero again. Delete. Wow, you're a robot, you know. So I don't know. I know they want us to accept that. I know they want us to accept. I've also, speaking of which, I've also decided to stop referring to it as the LGBTQ agenda. I don't like the term. I don't like having to spit out all the fucking letters and try to decide which stupid ass order they go into, because it's bullshit. It's a bullshit thing. It's a bullshit thing. And so I have decided that because that whole, I mean, and I think it's an actual considered an organization now, which is scary. And I don't want to offend anybody that is gay, because I know that you don't have a choice to be who you are. You are part of an agenda to be fucked up, and that's fucked up. And I'm against the agenda to fuck with people like that. And I have decided that I will personally, from here on forward, be referring to it as the androgyne agenda, because I believe that's what it is. It's not about making people gay. It's about creating an androgynous society, so when they do start mixing machine in with it, we all look the same. And it's creepy as hell. So that's what I'm calling it, the androgyne agenda. I'm not offending anybody unless you consider yourself an androgyne. And if you do, well, then fuck you. I mean, I'm sorry, but pick a fight with me. See if I give a shit. Computers will soon have more information from made-up worlds than exist in reality. They call it matter, but it's information. Okay. I mean, I don't dispute it. We very well be made. I mean, we do make gods. We make and worship our very own gods all the time. Bum, bum, bum. World is flat, Mandela effect. That's funny. I don't know. You know, I know that's not true. Well, of course, it's another experience of mine, which apparently can be completely disregarded. So, but no, it was actually when I first really sat down and honestly looked at flat Earth and set out to debunk it, and was having difficulty doing so, and was like, what the hell? And I started having memories of being at the beach and looking at the water, and being at the beach in Erie, Pennsylvania, and looking at Toronto across the lake. And so here I am pulling up Google Map and measuring the distance. And it's like, I don't remember what it is. It was 3.5 years ago when I looked it up, but I want to say it was like 37 miles. And I was looking at beach. Like, I could see the bottoms of the buildings. I was looking at freaking sand, and I was like, that is impossible. That is impossible. And that was probably one of the first things that I was like, holy shit, there's no curvature. So, I mean, I knew I had already had that experience. It had already happened. It just, I think, like most people, I learned the most about the globe when I stopped believing in it. And it was through trying to debunk it, because I had no idea how much I didn't know until I was into it up to my neck, trying to go, no, this is right. How can I prove this is right? And you can't prove it's right. And if you think you have, you're lying to yourself. You can prove there are things I don't understand, and you can prove there are things that I can't explain. But you can't prove that I live on a spinning globe. You can't prove it. And literally the only fucking proof. If you can sleep with that at night, you knock yourself out. I know that's bullshit. You know what, Martin? You're right. Computers are a human invention and not something from the creator. And I do tend to believe that that doesn't necessarily mean that the computers can't take over. But it seems to me that there is a natural matrix and an artificial matrix. I'm talking to you through the artificial matrix right now. And it seems like the artificial matrix, they can't, I keep hearing it said in my studies that the forces of this world that are trying to keep us here can't create new things. They're not creators, they're imitators. So everything that they make here, there is this whole as above, so below dynamic going on. It is like mirrored, but it's like a dark mirror. It's like a black mirror. And it's like the gods of this world are trying to recreate the ethereal heaven here and try to imitate it with everything that they do. I mean, I know that I can sit down, close my eyes, connect, meditate for a minute, and get answers to stuff that I have no business knowing. I've actually pulled answers out of the thin air watching Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with my kids. And they were like, whoa, how'd you know that? And I was like, shit, I have no idea how I knew that. Just they asked the question and suddenly the answer was in my head. And I had been sitting there kind of zoned out looking at the wall or whatever, wasn't even watching the show. And it just kind of, and it was because I was in that place. I was in that connected space. And I can do the exact same thing when I sit down on my computer and go, hey, Google, what's this? Define that. Where do I go for this? You know, what can I use to treat something? You know, it's like it's the artificial network to the lower matrix that imitates the natural network to the higher ethereal realm, in my big fat opinion. I have no proof of that. But, you know, I always tell people, I get a lot of atheists that give me a hard time. And I always tell atheists, I can't prove to you God exists. God is something you can only prove to yourself. You want to set out and prove that God doesn't exist, you will. If you want to set out and prove God exists, you will, because it's working for you. It's working through you to create what you're looking for. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The very fact that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of proves it in itself. So, I mean, I don't know. I think if it is a computer-generated thing, it is definitely an evil computer generation that is still mimicking a natural creation, something light-filled and good. I mean, I think we all know the very stark difference between what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil. There's not a whole lot of gray area in there. I mean, sometimes there is, but overall there's not. And I don't think that that's an accident. I think that that describes our world, our universe in general, a lot more aptly than we realize. Stacy loves listening to me because I'm interesting. Well, that makes one of you, so thanks. Computers suck big time. I don't know, computers, it's just a tool. You either use the tool or you let the tool use you. The universe has some similarities to computer system, but it's not a computer. That's like calling a supercar a trike. Quantum computers are interesting. Quantum computers are getting to the point where they're beginning to think for themselves, or at least that is the message that is being given to us. I don't know if this is true. We don't know. We don't know if anything we're told is true. I think that every time I hear someone say, well, you know, they're doing this and that, and it's like, really? Are they? Just because you fucking read it somewhere. You read it on the internet. You read it in a newspaper article, on the internet, or on Facebook, or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Even if you can trace your source back to like a university peer-reviewed fucking something that's written in some fucking fancy science magazine. Even if you can do that, doesn't mean that it's not a lie, and it doesn't mean that it actually happened. Here's a fun one. Where am I? Where was I going? Oh shit. I completely lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was headed. Oh, I know where I was going. Okay, I was going to show you guys these two articles that I found awesome. I'll give you 3. It's a 3 for kind of day. People are like, I got proof. There was such and such a study done, and you know, that freaking settles it all because scientists, they don't lie. Apparently they're just like cops, because cops don't lie either, I guess. But yeah, these articles are interesting, and they detail just how scientists lie and fudge results and why, and how basically every time you hear somebody say, well, science has proven, they probably haven't, and you cannot trust that information at all. I don't really give a fuck what science has proven. I care what I've proven. Martin thinks different dimensions are in my head. I don't know. I have closed my eyes, relaxed, and found myself without my body standing exactly next to my bed, looking at myself. And it wasn't in my head. I know it wasn't in my head. I've done experiments with people where they would write stuff and hide it. And I can tell you what's on the paper. It doesn't happen every time. I'm not freaking an adept at it. But sometimes, under the right conditions, I have been able to do that. It's happened 3 times. And it's not in my head. I was out. That's why I believe that there's life after death, because I have existed outside of my body. I was there and it was real. And I was out. So, I mean, no person will ever convince me that it was in my head. I've actually gone places and verified things that were in other places, and it wasn't an imagination. So, you know, I absolutely believe in life after death. I don't believe in death. I believe we learn that from nature. I think that we learn a lot about ourselves from nature, and I think that's part of why we are so discouraged from observing nature. Don't look at the solstice, that's pagan. Don't look at the equinox, that's pagan. Don't pay attention to the way nature moves and what nature does, because that's evil. That's stupid. And, you know, when the day ends here, when the sun dies in the west, it's being reborn somewhere else at that very moment. There is no end to the movement. It doesn't even slow down or hesitate. It stops being one thing and begins being another thing immediately. And I think that that's significant. Our moon does the same thing, except for that the moon dies. Moon dies for 3 days every month. That's interesting, because the sun dies for 3 days every year. I don't know. Nature's important, and we've been led away from it for a reason. We can learn a lot about ourselves through nature. Oh my God, guys, I'm getting tired here. I still almost hung out till 8 anyway, though. NASA is ridiculous. Oh my God. Good night, Martin. It's all right. I'm about done. Thanks for hanging out. Yep, I agree. We don't die. We just kind of retire one body and pick up the next if that's where we're headed. But that's one thing that really resonates with me with Martin Kenny's concept of the universe is the reincarnation, and it actually shows a process how that could be happening. And I don't know, all my life things either really resonate with me or they don't, and when they resonate with me I pay attention, and that really resonates with me. I mean, I don't know how true it is. I'm not saying it's all 100% correct or whatever. I don't even necessarily believe it's all correct. It just, there is something very profound about that, and I feel that there is something very true about it, something very true, and it's that its very nature. There's something there. I agree, Trouble About. Heaven is a place where thought is not allowed. That's why you can't meditate when you're thinking. I mean, you can relax, and you can become more likely to find spaces of empty thought if you focus on one thing. That's why a lot of people will think of a word and like repeat a word to themselves. I used to walk and I would focus on my breath, and on the inhale I would say to myself, I am peace, and as I would exhale I am love. I was inhaling peace and exhaling love, and I would focus on that because it helped me tame my head. It's like, instead of trying to think nothing, I would think one thing, instead of going off on a tangent and having, full conversations with people that aren't even there. Like, we like to do. We like to, think ourselves really important and have all kinds of chatty conversations in our head. I'm so glad. I am so, so glad that I realized the truth of that and how real that is, because I think a lot of my growth has had a lot to do with really taming that madness that goes on in your head. I find I don't think a lot. I spend a lot of my time thinking and a lot of my time not thinking, because if I catch myself running my mouth in my head, I will purposely pull my focus into the very space that I'm in. And something I do to try to focus personally, I will pull my focus in and I will look at something that's close to me. And then I will change my focus from looking at the thing to looking at the very air between me and the thing. And when I'm focused on the air, suddenly I'm here. I'm doing it right now. I totally just, like, I can feel it. It's almost a tangible feeling to me. I surmise that it is when my brain waves switch. I think it's when my brain waves go from doing one thing to slightly calmer. When I pull my focus, I can feel it. And that helped me start making space. You can't ever expect anything good to come in if it's all full already, So you gotta create space. It's important. I like that. The universe is an expression. God doesn't think or reason. He just expresses existence through multiple beings and realms. Thinking is wholly an act of the earthbound body. I think that, okay, this is weird. I think there's a difference between our spirit and our soul. I think our spirit is the thing that connects us to God. It's the reason our heart beats. It's that electrical impulse that travels through us that is life. I believe that that is our spirit. And I've come to think of our soul as attached to our ego. It's attached to the body. And I think that that's why people sell their soul. I mean, you're giving away the thing that connects you earthly. It's your earthly essence. It's the programmable part of you, the part of you that can be indoctrinated and is so malleable, you know? And I think that as long as you're actually human, you can sell your soul, but you don't lose your spirit. Because you can't lose your connection to God. You are God. You're made of God. You're made of God, for God, because God wanted to. So you can't just not be made of what you are anymore. You can't just not be who you are anymore. But you can sell your earthly soul and come back again. I think that's possibly one of the things that really ties us into reincarnation, is because when you sell your soul, I mean, it's generally accepted that when somebody sells their soul, it's for earthly things. It's for fame and fortune and what have you. And so you sell your earthly soul and you get whatever earthly things that you want. And then potentially when you die and re-enter this realm again, maybe having sold your soul in the previous realm or in the previous incarnation, affects your circumstances somehow. But I don't know, even that, because I don't believe in karma necessarily. I don't believe in karma as a punishment. Like, you have to reincarnate now because you were bad, and you have to live out this bad karma until you get over yourself. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I don't think karma transcends lifetimes. Not as a punishment, at least. I think it's more like you have personal growth and awakenings and you need to reach a certain point so you're not an ego, self-centered prick anymore, and that there are just certain things that you have to get out of life, and that you just come back and fight through it again and again and again until you get your shit together. And maybe some of the lessons that you learned, previous lessons and stuff, carries over in your soul. Maybe it's like a purse that we carry from life to life with us with all our shit in it. You know, it's our literal fucking baggage that we're not being punished with. It's just shit we've collected, programming we've collected. I mean, I don't know. I've met some little kids that were kind of messed up. And it's hard to say how a kid gets messed up anymore, because I mean, it could be they're messed up before they're even 5 minutes old because they're getting jabbed with fucking needles. Don't even get me started about that. But I mean, I've met some kids that seem truly evil, that seemed like stab you in your fucking sleep. Creepy kids. Only two. But like, what the hell? And it makes me wonder if part of that personality or whatever is in their big stupid earth purse that they're dragging around with them from their last life. And it's just because, I mean, we all understand that certain influences program us. They just do. We're programmed as children. And that's why people are generally so in awe of me, because I was abused excessively as a child and managed to come out of it whole. I'm a whole, decent, functioning, kind, loving person. And I'm not even angry about it anymore. Like, I've really come through it. And I have to wonder if part of that's because I am such a spiritually minded person, and I do believe that this is the point, is to grow, is to figure this out, to be better, to do better, to act rightly. And if maybe these are lessons that I've dragged around with me in my earth purse, and that's funny. I'm going to start saying earth purse from now on. And it's just growth that I've accumulated. And yeah, I mean, my life kind of sucked a bit to begin with, but then it leveled out, and I've been pretty freaking good for about 20 years now. Like, I've been okay. I've had a pretty easy life, and I've had a good life and a good partner and good kids. And I haven't had it really hard. I haven't had a lot of bullshit. It's like I came through the most traumatic part and I wasn't unscathed, but instead of shaping who I was or who I was becoming around who I thought I was because of what happened to me, would have ruined my life. It would have changed the very person I was, because actually the person that I was an awful, awful person. I was an awful, awful person. I've talked about this before. Like, I woke up one day and literally realized I do not like myself. I don't like who I am. I wouldn't want to be friends with me. I'm a complete fucking asshole. I'm a piece of shit. I should be fucking shot. I'm a piece of shit. I literally stabbed an ex of mine in the fucking forehead with a fork at the dinner table with my mother and her husband. Like, fucking stabbed him right in the forehead. Wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I was pregnant, but that's still no excuse. I was a very abusive, very mean, angry person. And I could have held on to that. I mean, it felt good to hang on to that for a long time. It's soothing to the soul. I don't know. I think there's something to the programming with the soul. But yeah, we have to make a choice and decide that we want to be different, that we want to feel better. That was what I wanted. I wanted to feel better. I feel like shit all the time. I'm so mad all the time. I'm always angry. Nobody can talk to me. Nobody can say anything to me. I'll rip your fucking head off. I mean, I'm pretty witty and sarcastic, and I'm a happy person. You guys see my witty sarcasm, and I'm happy. Now imagine me pissed off and raging all the time with the same venom, only meaner, because I was a fucking handful. I was a handful. But I think so many people, they're not introspective. They don't want to look at themselves. They want to blame everybody else for what's up with them, what they've been through. Well, I'm this way because of what that asshole put me through and what that bitch did to me, and the world just keeps shitting on me. And you can feel that way if you really want to, but that ain't a life I want nothing to do with. And I really think that that is the big fat line between being happy and not being happy. It's your mindset and your decision to be happy. And that sounds like such bullshit, but it's not. I'm having a really good ramble here all by myself. I take my eyes off the chat for a minute and I talk, and then I look over and everything's gone and I forget what I was even talking about. And then I'm like, well, what was I talking about? And then I think of something else to say and I go off over here for a little while. I went out and was talking to my husband this morning about word etymology, because I'm a nerd. And I was telling Marty, he was talking about having furniture because his cat is shedding and there's fur everywhere. And I'm like, dude, until you've had a husky in the springtime, I don't want to freaking hear it. But we were talking, he was talking about having a brush to scoop up the hair. And I was telling him that I use a rubber squeegee. And of course, I mean, we don't even speak the same language. So I'm like, squeegee, I wonder if that even like, if that even translates, you know? And I got to talking to my husband about the word squeegee, because it's actually spelled Squeegee. And I kind of blanked when I was trying to spell it. And I was saying, you know, the cool thing about autocorrect is that if you have no idea how to spell what you're trying to spell, if you spell it out phonetically, autocorrect will generally find it for you. So I was trying to figure out how the hell to spell squeegee. I ended it with a Y. It's not. And I was talking to him after that, because I totally cracked myself up about word etymology and words that sound phonetically the same, like there, and there, and where, and where. Like underwear or wares that you sell, or where are they? I mean, there's so many that we have. And I think that think the English language, and I'm not positive because I don't actually speak any other language, but I have known people that do and have spoken other languages, and they have different words for everything. Other languages don't have words, generally speaking, and if you can show me words that are the same, that I would be very interested in learning about it. But other languages, besides English, they have completely different words for things. Like, you don't say good morning and then go into mourning when someone dies. That word, they're completely separate words. They're not even close to each other. And I think that that's part of, well, before it's part of, and English is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. Why does everybody speak English? You go to other countries and other kids have learned English as a second language by the time they're 5 years old going into kindergarten. And we get, you know, a year's worth of foreign language late in high school when we're unlikely to actually retain the information. And I think that English seeming to be rolled out as a universal language, and the fact that it's so fucked, I think that that very strongly points to the hijacking of the language, that they are really actually trying to hijack it and stop us from creating things that we really want to create, because our very language itself is confused. I mean, I walk out and wish you a good morning, and I am saying good day to you. But I'm not. I mean, the very word morning itself does not say good freaking day to you, you know? So, and I know intention means a lot. What you're intending is an energetic thing. And so words can't be everything because intention means a lot, but I have to wonder if we are partially hijacking our intention when our words already have these vibrations. And I don't think it's just intention, because words are vibrations. These are literal vibrating molecules that we send out into the universe. I've always kind of thought of speaking things out loud as giving them form. Other people like to write them down. I like to talk out loud. I love to go out in my woods and walk around in my bare feet with my feet in the dirt and pray. Talk to God, talk to the universe, talk to the trees, talk to whatever I want to talk to, but I will walk around by myself and talk. I'm not talking to myself, but I talk because I like giving it form. I like walking through the woods, talking about how grateful I am for everything that I have, and actually giving that praise form in the form of vibration. How much is that vibration messed up if the words vibrate the same as these really low emotional words, like mourning, for instance? Can't think of another one off the top of my head. I was entirely unprepared to share that, but you know, I managed to shut up for a second, and so I got it at Word in Edgewise. Little Bird's here. Hi, Little Bird. It is lovely to see you, my friend. Gosh, you know what? And as soon as I started talking about the difference between the spirit and the soul, you are the person that popped into my head, because I was thinking about your video where you were talking about the soul being an earthbound thing that is programmable. And when you said it and I watched your video, I didn't get it. I watched your video, I listened to what you said, and I was like, that's interesting, and moved on, because I didn't. But then when I heard it again, probably at least 9 months later, having applied different information and learned new things, when it was presented to me again, I was like, oh, wow. So now I'm dragging around an earth purse and talking about programming your soul and selling it, giving it away, doing all kinds of shit that you shouldn't be doing. Shit's scary. There's shit I won't say. I won't say it out loud. There's shit I won't do. I won't knock on wood. I refuse to knock on wood. I think Little things like this that have been done. I mean, they were silly. You knock on wood because you are appealing to the fairies of the wood and asking for their blessing. That's why you knock on wood when you say something. And see, even that, you knock on wood because you don't want to jinx what you say. I think of these energies as gods now. I'm not knocking on wood and asking some random earthbound god to help me out and not jinx myself when I am part of the living creator, and I don't give two shits about jinxing myself because I don't. I speak with integrity. So I mean what I say. When I say I haven't been sick for a year, I'm not afraid of getting sick because I know that I have found a healthy balance in myself, and I'm not going to knock on wood and hope not to jinx it, because screw your jinxes, screw your hoaxing, screw your hexing and your spelling and your cursive, screw all of it, because you're trying to fuck with me and I'm not down with it anymore. I put so much thought into the things that I say now and into the things that I automatically do. Like, hey, good luck tomorrow. Yeah, I'll cross my fingers for you. This is hoping for luck. What the hell is that? I won't do that. I won't cross my fingers for luck. I won't. I don't know. It just, these things strike me as really not good anymore. I really feel like you're appealing to lower energies, because I think that these lower energies are actually here. And I think they do hijack us, and I don't know, it's not cool. It's not shit I want to invite into my being or into my energy, my space, my home. Not inviting wood fairies for my own luck. I don't need your luck. I'm pretty damn okay. You know? Sorry, there was another little rant that came out of nowhere. Gratitude. Gratitude will change your life too. No matter how shitty it is, no matter how hard of a time you're having, if you sit down and start writing down 5 things you're grateful for every day, even if for the whole first week it's the same 5 damn things. Write it down and feel it. Even if all you're grateful for was, you know, having a warm pair of shoes to wear. I was glad I had my shoes to put on that day. Actually spend a little time in it. Actually consider that there are homeless people that literally don't have fucking shoes. Walk around in the fucking winter with shit taped to their feet because they have no shoes. I can actually sit here and work up a feeling in my thymus over that. I'm so blessed. I'm so beyond blessed. I've never wanted. Because every time I want something, if I really, really need it, it shows up for me. And I know that. And it's an experience that I have spent a lot of my time cultivating. It's not something that just happens. It happens from in here. And again, back to the words, back to the vibrations, back to the energy that we put out, that we carry around with us. I was just watching something the other day, and they were talking about, they were brain mapping people before, during, and after meditation. And then they were brain mapping people that were meditating on different things. And the people, there was a certain set of people that would sit down and they would go into a quiet mind and imagine their entire body, every cell of their body, smiling. And their brain waves went fucking bonkers. Bonkers. Shit's lighting up all over the place because they're imagining every cell of their body. And it was like changing everything. And that, we carry that. We absolutely carry that. I mean, and just because some people aren't sensitive to feeling it doesn't mean it's not there, because it's absolutely there. I, for one, can feel it. I can walk into a room like a half an hour after a couple has been fighting in it, and I can feel it. I can walk into a room and one person in the room can, I don't know what it is. It feels dark and I don't like it. And I will want to get out of that room. These things happen to me and I pay attention to them because it's an intuitive instinct that I have cultivated. I've learned to pay attention to. But our very thoughts light things up. And the people that meditated, imagining all of their cells smiling, talked about how it was actually a tangible feeling in themselves. Like they felt radiant and glowing when they were finished. And it's, you literally affect your physical makeup with your mind. There is no spoon, you know? So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. Being in gratitude. And you know what? Along those same lines, I try to start every meditation that I go into with gratitude, because we all know I'm a Bible nerd, and the Bible says, enter into his courts with thanksgiving, or into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. You're supposed to enter in gratitude, in praise, in joy. And I think that that's part of connecting to that energy. I mean, I don't want to connect to anything other than that. That doesn't sound very fun, you know? Yes, hello. Hell. Oh. How nice, right? Enough. Try teaching someone that the words enough and through have the same spelling ending but sound completely different, right? I know. I know. There's another one. Oh, it's the I before E. I before E except after C, unless you have something and you're something to something else and blah, blah, blah with your neighbor or something. But there's a whole bunch of English words that don't follow that grammar rule. A neighbor is one of them. That's funny. You jumped in right when I was talking about stuff and thinking about you. It's like I called you. I could have called you. You want to come on, talk to me? I know, I'm sure you're busy. Yeah, little bird regularly pops into my head too, Wobbly. Whoa, I jumped. Oh, where'd it go? There she is. Writing dreams, words create reality, thoughts create dreams, geometric patterns are set, words create patterns. Okay, I'm guessing you're talk to texting that, and that's why it has no punctuation. And I didn't mean to go all robotic, but yeah, I had a little trouble with that. Like snowflakes, word can be arranged uniquely. We can make our own sound using words. We can create snowflakes. You know, but even snowflakes, which is totally not what you were saying and has absolutely nothing to do with the conversation, but it's another one of those things that's occurred to me since I went flat, and I was like, they always say no two snowflakes are alike. I'm suddenly very skeptical of that idea. Like, hundreds of trillions of snowflakes fall in every area every season, and you're telling me no two has ever been alike ever? That seems really, really unlikely. But it's another one of those scientific things that you should just take on faith. I mean, obviously they're right, right? Be as unique as a snowflake. What if like every 10 snowflakes are exactly the freaking same? Have you ever looked at 10 snowflakes next to each other? I know I haven't. I mean, I've gotten close to a glove and looked at a couple, but anymore, with all this bullshit that goes on in the sky, I'm just looking at little chunks of ice pellets anyway. Sorry, side rant. This worked out really good. Once I, ditched the baggage and got going, I feel better. I'm not so flushed. My heart calmed down. I don't know what that was. It was really weird. I felt like my blood pressure went up. I didn't even eat that much. I ate a little bit because I was so hot and I just didn't feel good. I really didn't think I'd hang out until 8, and here I am. But yes, snowflakes, interesting, and words, yes. There's a lot of really interesting videos about that on YouTube, where they do things like put salt on a speaker and it goes into different geometric patterns with different frequencies that come through it. And I mean, when you get into frequencies, I've said his name before, and I'm going to type it in here again because he's really interesting. Eric Rains. God, where was I going with that? Oh my God, I am so scatterbrained lately. Like all weekend, it's been really, really bad. Like I'm like, for real. What was I talking about? Frequency and geometric patterns, and then Eric Rains popped into my head. I don't know. Look into Eric Rains, though. He's interesting. I have no idea where I was going with that. It's about time to go. Seriously, I need to go chill my brain out. Wish I could drink a cup of coffee, but it's like 10 to 8 at night. And if I drank a cup of coffee, I would still be up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's out of the question. Rearranging the ether vibration, parentheses, water in our lungs. That's interesting. It's all really interesting. Oh, Eric Rains. Okay, so Eric Rains talks about the vibrational frequencies that are within our sight range and our hearing range, and how that is like, it's like 3% of the entire sound and visual spectrum. So there's actually far, 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 far more vibrations and colors and things going on around us than we are physically capable of comprehending. And I think that that is really, really interesting. That's why I think that geometric patterns and the, what do they call it, sacred geometry, I think that stuff is so interesting. And numbers are important. And that's another reason that I love Marty Leeds so much, is because he's all about the numbers that are right here. He's not going off on tangents with these long fucking formulas explaining shit that you can't prove is real. He's talking about literally counting on your numbers and freaking toes and how it basically works out the universe. And it's so interesting to me because it's something that any human person that's thinking can do it. Basic math, a child can do it. I love that. And it works every time. It works. I love that. But that's where that was coming from. God, that hurt my brain. I knew I was actually going to say something, but it is really interesting. And I've heard that before a long time ago, before I went flat. And I mean, I don't know. Am I the only one? I can't be the only one that changed. My entire fucking reality changed when I went flat. Everything changed. My opinions and my ideas and the way that I saw everything was suddenly completely shifted. And now I hear things like that I heard back then, back in, say, 2011, 2012, maybe, learning about, sound frequency and sight frequencies, and how we see such a small fraction of that, and thinking, oh, well, of course ghosts are real. They exist in this outside vibration. And then that's like all the thought you give to it. Because that was like the deepest my reality went, was the idea that, ghosts might exist. And now it's like, holy shit, guys, we're like layers of vibration on top of layers of vibration. And it's all really deep, literally and spiritually. Like, it's all very deep. I love videos like that. I love real sciencey videos, real thought provoking ideas and hypotheses, and anything to do with real math, not just imaginary, made up, more letters than numbers math, but real freaking math. Love that kind of stuff. Thymus does rule. Thymus rules all. Ask the big freaking ape. Who is the ape that pounded his chest? I swear to God, you'd think I smoked and ate the pot today for how fucking with it I am right now. I do not. Seriously, I do not know what my problem is. I am drinking lemon water, warm lemon water. Like, seriously, I don't know what my fucking problem is. Oh, King Kong. Seriously. Oh my God. Break a leg. See? Yeah. Why? That's kind of morbid. Wishing them luck is bad luck. So wish them something horrific because that makes sense, right? Water holds memory. It's like a living supercomputer. Water is amazing. Water is absolutely amazing. And that's just another point for the human body. I mean, we're like 70% water. We are the living embodiment of the earth. I mean, the earth is 70% water, and so are we, and water is programmable. I mean, the rice experiment, which I never did make you guys a video on that, but the rice experiment, you're not actually hurting the rice. It's the water that the rice has absorbed that is absorbing the vibrations of the words that you're saying or write on it or whatever you do. So it's actually the water you're programming. Gosh, it makes me want to sit and meditate and pray over my water before I drink it now, honestly. Never really gave it a whole lot of thought before, which is weird. I should have. But crystals have been shown to be programmable and hold information as well. And I don't know how closely the relation is, but I know that there is a relation between waters and crystals. I wonder if water would hold more information as a crystal, like an ice crystal, frozen. Gives it more geometric pattern. I don't know. Now I'm just talking out my ass. Just saying. Bye, Richard. You're probably already gone. Sorry, I've been babbling for a while. Little bird, when I lose my gratitude, synchronicity ends and life feels shitty and hard. Gratitude keeps it soft and flowing. I believe that as well. Because I will, if I feel like everything's fallen down on me, like I have for like the last too fucking long, couple of months, really. As soon as I really start feeling bogged down and feeling, I don't know, I want to say resentful, but that's not really the feeling. Maybe it is a little bit, a small snippet of resentment. I go sit my ass out in the grass if I can, but I will at least sit down and I start with the gratitude. What am I grateful for? Basics. Shit I take for granted. I'm grateful for running freaking water. I've been without it. We'll have a storm, the power goes out, we have a well, the pump don't work, the water doesn't flow. You're screwed. You don't realize how much you miss it until you don't have it. So even if you got to sit down and be grateful for running water, be grateful and feel it. It makes a difference. It does. Oh, well, I am a stoner, but I'm not now. I'm normally not so, dude. But today I'm just, I don't know what my problem is. I think I'm just recovering from the weekend. It's been a rough weekend. All the tortured rice. I know. I had a hard time with it. It was hard to, I'll tell you guys now. I had my rice, and I had the rice that had the words written on it, the love and the hate, and then I had the ones that I was talking to, but because I couldn't bring myself to say shitty things to them, like I was like talk to it, like you fucking asshole rice, I couldn't bring myself to do it. It felt, I didn't like saying it like that accusory. I don't know. It felt weird. I know that's weird. I'm weird, but I accept that, and you should too. So, I was bitching at it. Every time I wanted to bitch about something, every time something pissed me off, I would go in and I would pick up the rice and I would bitch at it. And this happened and that happened and blah, 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 blah. And that's pissing me off. And I would just like get therapy with the rice. And then before I walked away, I would pick up the other bag of rice and say nice things to it. You're looking lovely today. You're so clean compared to the rest of them. You're so nice. I bet you even smell good too. I love you. It's nice that you're here. And just like say nice things to the freaking rice, which is gotta be the most awkward thing you can ever do in a room by yourself. If you've done more awkward, I don't care to know. But what happened was you can see my TV here, and right on the other side of this little shelf here, this wall that goes up along the TV, that was where I had the love rice. I had the stuff that was written love up against one side, and then on the next shelf down, because I didn't want them to even be near each other, I put the bag that I was just saying nice things to on the other side. And then on all the way up against the other wall on two other shelves, I had the hate rice and then the bitch at it rice. And the bitch at it rice was looking really similar to the hate rice. They were getting green and black and fuzzy and really gross looking. The rice that I was talking to was it was mostly clean and decent, and it had a little bit of white fuzz on it. The rice up top was completely covered, that said love, was completely totally covered in this white creepy looking fuzz, and it was starting to turn this light green color right up against the back of the shelf where it was leaning. And that was when I realized that the rice was actually sitting up against, so the rice was sitting on the shelf right here. This is the wall between the rice and the TV, and then the TV is right here, and it's an LED TV, so it gets warm. So every time the TV was on for an hour, it would heat up that piece of wood, which would heat up the rice. And then it would turn off and cool off, and then heat up and then cool off, and heat up and cool off. So I was getting inconsistent results because I didn't realize that that area actually changed in temperature as to whether or not the television was on. So the rice that I was saying nice things to was obviously a lot nicer looking. It had survived much better than the hate rice. And both of the hate rices mostly looked the same, but the love rice was a completely lost cause because I didn't have it in a consistent temperature. And I meant to make a video and talk about that, and because it was a lost cause and I kind of got away from it and forgot about it and never made that video. And then I never redid it because, everything keeps blowing up around here. So I would like to repeat it though. Maybe here soon. I'll find somewhere new to put it. I put it in here just because it doesn't get disrupted that much in here. It doesn't hear a lot of other words. It was before I was doing live hangouts, so I wasn't even talking in here all the time. Just, it kind of got left alone, and it kind of didn't hear anything else, feel any other vibrations or whatever, because I was really trying to do it as legitimately as possible. Like keeping the hate rice and the stuff that said hate separated, because I didn't want the hate rice to affect the stuff because the word hate was near it, And oh, this is funny. This came up on a hangout with True Love and Alice. I think Alice was there. But we talked about it briefly, and I was showing them the rice. And the funny thing is, I had collected the rices. I had the two hate and the two love, and I brought them over here, and I had set them down together. And I was going to make the video, and then got sidetracked. Something else happened. I didn't do it. And 2 days went by where all this rice was sitting next to each other. And when I took the two things of rice, two sets apart, the love rice the stuff that had been completely normal looking, well, almost completely normal that I had been talking to, had been up against the back side of the bag that said hate, and it had actually started to get black spots where it was touching the other bag. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. But I never made the video, and here I am telling you about it now. So I'm sorry. Forgive me, but I will most likely do it again because those were really inconclusive, but interesting results nonetheless. So I do want to go look into it a little further and try again. Hello, Chillster. Oh, all right, I'm actually over 8 o'clock now. I really hung in there for you people. I'm just saying, really hung in there. Boy, a weird hangout. Weird night. Be cool to ice and nice to rice and mean to lice. All right, we'll do that. And I'm the stoner here. Mm-hmm. I'd give you a yeah, sure, but I'd be accused of throwing sixes. So anyway, all right, guys. I'm gonna bolt. It was fun. I always wonder what in the hell I'm gonna say. Like, what the hell am I gonna talk about? And I always seem to manage just fine. I don't know. One of these years, I'm gonna get people on here with me though. Probably when I get back on my normal channel, I still get a couple, well, not a couple hundred, but at least 100 views on every live hangout. And that always surprises me because I still think a lot of people really aren't aware that I'm over here doing live hangouts. But end of this month, well, not this month, next month, I have one more month almost exactly before I'm ungrounded on my other channel. I can't wait to do normal live streams on my normal damn channel again. Being grounded blows. I'm gonna start uploading my shit to my own website pretty soon. YouTube's gonna piss me off and I'm gonna run. And they won't notice I'm gone and they won't give a shit, and that's fine. Anyway, all right. I am getting out of here. I hope you all have a lovely week. And I'm sure I'll see you same bat time, same bat channel for now. Bye, guys.